I'm actually going to do an interview with you. And what I'm starting is a Facebook community. So it's going to be a Shift 1 Degree community where it's real conversations with real people. So I'm inviting people who are wanting to share what skill that they've had to or strength that they've had to tap into when they've been faced with a massive challenge. And the purpose of this is because I get very inspired by the great celebrities like the Oprah Winfrey's. I find them very inspirational, which is fantastic. Obviously, that we can all find our little go-tos, which is great. The problem for me with that is that she's so far out of reach that her point of normal and mine is not quite the same. So my thinking behind this is by creating this group and having people from all over the world, just normal people going through normal challenges and what they had to tap into to overcome those, I believe other people can then get motivation, get inspired by then listening to these videos. So that's the purpose. So that is my question to you. I would like you to share what has been your biggest challenge and then what you had to tap into in order to overcome that, and what shift you had to make.
So that's a good question. I think a lot of if I look at myself, sometimes the challenge is more about overcoming some insecurities, which I think a lot of probably people can maybe resonate with this. Because it is especially for me growing up in an environment like Israel, there's a lot of competition all the time, and especially even in today's environment that all the time you need to be the best in everything you need to do. You need to be the best partner, the best kid, the best parent, the best and the best and the best. And then if things are not going as you wanted them, okay, how do you deal with this? How you not taking it to your insecurities by saying it as a challenge that, okay, it is what it is. How am I overcoming it? So that's one of my main challenges in life. And how do I overcome it? I'm a very stubborn person, which is one of my strengths and weakness at the same time. I'm very self-aware person. And when I'm getting to a certain situation, I always try to take myself out for a second, reflect and look at it from the outside as an outsider, and then understand the situation and learn. Especially what helped me more and more recently is to connect to my intuition. And connect to my intuition and trust things and trust the universe, trust that things happen in a certain way, trust that I know what's right, trust to learn to distinguish between my fears to their reality, which is very tough because even now I'm in certain situation in my life that I'm okay, I'm going to let it's what I'm thinking, is it my intuition or is it my fears? Which one is guiding me? And then I'm trying to separate them and then remind myself that I can do it. And if others can do it, so why cannot I do it? And I can say, even when I started my business, I was thinking sorry for my language, but who the hell you think you are that you gonna consult some other people about their marketing, about their companies? What's wrong with you? But then I reminded myself, sorry, I've done it for corporates for so long. I've made money for big companies. So why can I not do it? And it's a constant work that I do with myself to remind myself the things, to remind myself that I can do this. I can do stuff that I want to do in life. And I'm not going to let my fears control me.
Do you know when that little kind of spiral thing kicks in? So do you know when that kicks in, the insecurity, the fear, whatever, that it kicks in, and then how quickly does it take you to manage it, and how quickly does it take you to find a way to go, okay, I got that? Do you have a mantra? Do you have a certain practice?
So it depends on the situation, but recently it's becoming that I'm noticing it very fast, and I've got two ways of dealing it. First, I give myself a pep talk, which I give myself a speech and a lecture, and I do that. I actually have three things. So I'm doing this, I've got friends that I know that if I'm going to call them, they will shake me and put me on spot and be honest about everything. And the third one is that I started to do shamanic journeys, which is something that I recently discovered, which is something that I do from the side that I'm closing my eyes, letting the drums in the background, and I'm just connecting to my intuition and, understanding, getting answers. Am I imagining? Am I good? Am I right? Am I wrong? And I can say one time I did a journey and I asked a question for my mom that my mom passed away not that far ago. And I asked a question and she was shouting at me. And I was like, oh my God, I really missed this. I was like, I was missing that part of like telling me, you're wrong, stop it. Let it be. Stop letting your fears and whatever, stop it. So those are the things that I do for myself. But again, everyone's got their own thing. I just learned that, bottom line, you need to find what's right for you. And I found the right friends that I know exactly who to reach out to. I found my pep talk that helps me a lot with myself. And as I said, like I'm very self-aware, which is good and bad on the same time, because sometimes you don't want to be too aware because it's like constant in the back of your head. So
I think also a big value add that you can add to people is your sense of community, because you really do live that. I mean, that's something that it was kind of in me, but since working with you, that's become even stronger. That sense of community is very big. That you are very strong in who you are, that you don't feel threatened by other people. You don't see other people's competition. And I love that, because I don't either. I think this is why I want to do this group. I want to do this group because the value that you can add to somebody, not just from a marketing strategist, but also just from your personal journey, and what you can add to somebody would be very different to what I could to somebody else. So for me, that's the value add. For somebody to work with you, there's so much value they can get in so many other ways. And so for me, it's about you highlighting the strength that you have that other people don't have, and you'd be able to help them with that.
So I'm fully with you with this, and for everyone who actually listened to our podcast or to even my videos, and I said in both languages, in Hebrew and in English, that when I'm teaching people to build a brand, I'm not teaching like I'm to do the advertisement. I'm actually teaching you to connect to your story, understand why you do what you do. We all have a reason. If we can just connect to this and share it, but share it in a way that it's right for us, because part of my story is me losing my mom, that was my wake-up call in life. But I'm not sharing with you all the difficulties on that process. It's not me. It's not part of my life. That's mine. But I'll share certain parts that I'm fine with them, that I can share. And that's why I said, like, if you can share your story, if you can share more and more of the difficulties, of your success, of your failures, of everything, you never know who's the other person on the other side. What are their takeaways? You can inspire others to do things that they haven't had the courage. You can motivate them to do stuff. You can they can take even one small part from your story, but you're never going to know. And that's why I'm a big believer in sharing your story. Is like, share your brand story, build your own community, be part of a community. And these are two things. We also want to be part of something. We want to feel belong. We want to feel, confident that we can ask questions, that people can be there for us, feel safe. But on the other hand, we also want to create our own community, get people that, are experiencing similar things to us. And that's the thing. Yeah. Like, you cannot overcome something just by you dealing with yourself. But if you find the right supporting group, and that's why, for me, my mom was that person that always used to tell me the truth in my face. And I think only after she passed away is that when I realized, and it took me a while, it took me, I think, a year to get to that place that, okay, I actually need to find this type of people in my life that they can actually tell me in my face instead of what she used to do. And you're finding it as part of it. So I'm sharing the parts that I can. You can listen, say, okay, yes, no, and take it from there. So I'm really believe, like, share your stories, put it out there. It's also part of you inspiring others, but also you inspiring yourself you're reminding yourself the stuff, you're healing yourself as well. So
yeah. So what I would, there's two things. The first one, I would like you just to share with everybody else what that 1 degree shift was that you had to make within yourself consciously. And the second thing is, I invite people who are on a journey of wanting to grow and develop within themselves and wanting to share their story with other people to send me an email, to send me a private message, and just to, yeah, let me interview you. I would just love that opportunity to do that. So yeah, back to the first one. What was that one shift that you had to make?
Is to trust myself, to trust my intuition, to trust that I know what's right for me and no one else. I can ask for advice, counsel, but I know the truth and I just need to connect with this. And it's in everything in life. And I'm talking business-wise, relationship-wise. So that's mine. And I really recommend for people do this. Sometimes it's so hidden inside of you that until no one actually speak with you and interview you or like chat with you, then it can come out. So give him some thought, what's your key strengths? What are your challenges and how are you overcoming things?
Yeah, we want to create this community, or I want to create this community. So thank you.
I want to be part of this community. I love communities. I think that this is where we need to be. We need to be there for each other. If we're not going to do it, no one else will. And sorry, no offense to governments, but I can see it in different countries. It's us that need to take care of ourselves.
And I've done some interviews with some people in the States, which was just amazing, and I want this to be a global interview process. I want it to be from people, interview people from all over the world, because that's the diversity. We're actually all the same. It doesn't matter, we're all the same, but it just makes it exciting, when it's global. So yeah, thank you very, very much.
It is, and kids, we all have a story. Even if it's the same story, we tell it in a different way. We have different changes in the story, so share it. And I'll take it also to the marketing side as well, because this is who you are. You are the brand. Share your story, but share it in a way that you feel comfortable with. And don't be afraid to push yourself to do stuff outside of your comfort zone. Just push yourself a bit. Share a bit more in the story. Every time you do a bit more, that's how you're going to heal. That's how you're going to progress. That's how you go. And don't be afraid to share your failures as well. Like we said it in the previous one, failure is something that a lot of people see as a negative thing. I see it as a very positive thing. I'm grateful for each and every failure I had with my business I had in my life, because that's what got me to where I am now. And there's a reason why I love the J.K. Rowling one, the rejection is redirection. Everything is guiding you in a certain way. So follow this.
Yeah.
And share.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and have an awesome weekend.
Yes, and on Tuesday, we're going to do marketing topics. So see you then.